Hi everyone, it's Koinzell here. So today basically we are doing the very last additional POG entrance because everything there's no way to buy any more of the additional POG ticket since the season is actually going to change. We're gonna get a new season next week. So I'm going to take the chance, right, to also talk about the BDM Global. When you guys do get POG, I suspect it might be the same time as us next week. If they want to follow the seasons across the servers, then you'll be getting it next week. And if you have any, I actually have covered the POG in great detail in my very first guide. You can check out the video here, the POG guide 1. So effectively this guide 2, right, is going to be a very straightforward one where I'm just going to talk about the classes because I've already gone through each of these skill. This already buff, right, what they do. Uh, Classes, and in terms of position I've already talked about it in the very first video as well. So now I'm just going to focus on the classes that you guys have versus the classes that I'm using. So right off the bat you'll see that since you guys have Awakening now, you already have the Phantasma / Darkness, you already have the Huntress, this is Ascension, you have the Ascension Witch, you have you don't have Tamer but you have the Awakening Giant, which is the Destroyer. So the two classes that you don't have versus what I have is the Lan Awakening here, and Tamer Ascension. So the good news is that you guys have both the range characters as well as the semi-range characters. Although Destroyer is a bit closer to melee than range, but it's fine. Basically, what you can use to replace the Lan and the Tamer is actually very straightforward. It is the Berserker and Reaper. Either one will do in either position really. So it's quite self-explanatory. Berserker for the melee PvE, the Reaper as well for the PvE. So it's actually very straightforward. So the formation still holds. You have one melee, one semi-range, and one range character. I'm putting it like this because of the bridge system, or rather the statue system where there's this buff area here. So that's why I put 3 characters here. But if you find that you are having difficulty clearing the POG, you should move these 3 characters over here. Okay? By moving these 3 characters over here, you are focusing your characters all right before the door. So it's not my door has taken a bit of damage because I wanted to utilize this. When you utilize this, right, what happens is that you become weaker at the initial few waves, but you'll be very strong at the late game wave. Alternatively, I can do is to move all your characters here and only move them to the front when your aura is stronger. The statue that you're buffing here is stronger. So like right now I have it at level 2, so level 2 will give us 5% heal on top of just the damage buff. This literally, if I translate, is Allion Guardian statue basically. But remember, if you have difficulty clearing any of the specific levels, you should move your formation to be like this. Okay? 2 columns at the back. I will also go into detail a bit on the different POG difficulty levels and their CP after this. Actually, I think I did go through during the first guide, but it's fine. We can talk about it again. I'm actually quite excited for you guys to get the POG. It's quite a nice way to buff up your Black Spirit level. And on top of that, it also offers a lot of silver and the Grand Bloodstones as well. Of course, at the initial level for you guys, it may not be Grand Bloodstones, it may be 1 tier lower. But let's just see the rewards later when I run through each of the earlier POG levels. Okay, we can get level 3 now. And another advice that I can give, right, depending on whether you're having difficulties with the boss. If you are having difficulty with the bosses, it may make sense to use the boss pet, provided you have them as a spare set lying around. I know it's not easy on the global, but if you do, you'll be very strong. Because for us right now, the boss pet is pretty much mandatory if we want to clear POG. That's why you see my CP slightly lower, because I'm using the boss pet instead of the AP pets. Okay, we have the second last boss, or second last wave. This very nice dragon that was newly added. You guys won't be getting him when you first get POG. You'll still be going through the first few bosses that you have, you know, starting from level. The very first difficulty will be giving you the red nose as the very first boss, and then as you proceed up per difficulty, it just moves the entire 10 waves one boss up. So it means that when you're at difficulty 2, right, the second boss is basically GF. Sorry, the first boss of the second wave, first boss of the second difficulty is GF. Red nose will be gone, and then it will be 10 bosses from there. I can show up the boss screen to show you guys later. The boss rush screen. Okay, this is with 24 tickets. Oh, that was quite terrible, but this is nice, 2.5x. This I actually want this more than a pink one, for example. So like I was saying, it gives a lot of dark energy chests for the Black Spirit level. Grand Blackstones, this golden statue for selling, and this is the material itself for pumping up the POG matter. But bear in mind that when you guys first get the POG, likely it will be the purple grade, yellow grade, and orange grade badges that you can get instead of like what we have, which is orange, red, and pink. Which makes sense really, since you're still at the early stages of BDM per se. Okay, so let's look at, oh yeah, sorry. Let's look at the difficulty level. So this very first level of difficulty, you see that you can't even get the this, okay, we call it capsule, but basically it's the stone of power. So this is the faded version of it, where you can only use it to enhance, you can't equip. The CP requirement obviously is not high, it's only 11.5k. Given that you have 6 characters, right? Let's say you work on your characters, maybe your main character has something like 7k CP, and your alternates have 5k or even 6k each. That actually gives you a grand total of, let's say we take 6k as an example. Sorry. So 6 times 5 is 30, plus 7k, that's 37k. So you should be able to do up to maybe something like 7th difficulty. Now, bear in mind that the CP requirement here, right, is a indicative CP. If I'm not wrong, if you don't meet the CP, you should still be able to enter. I honestly can't remember because it's been a very long while. What I can do is probably, oh, I can't. I actually have to log in my alternate characters to take off all their equipment. There is an easier way. Let's see. No, because my CP is so high that it, yeah, my CP is so high that I can't use the. I was thinking of taking off some of my gear CP that's common throughout the characters, but my CP is so high right now. If you see, it's 138k, but the difficulty here is 97k. I actually have to take off quite a lot of the CP before I can show. But from what I remember, you should be able to enter it. Actually, you know what? Let me just do a quick check and verification on that. Okay, so I have taken off gear of 3 of my characters here, the Tamer, Destroyer, and my main character, Phantasma. Let's see if we are able to enter. Oh, I can't do the test because I am out of tickets. Oh, but there is a message saying that you don't have enough CP. So in other words, you do need to meet this amount of CP before you can enter. Okay. So and my guess is that what they will launch initially will likely be up to tier 9 when they first launch it, because it will be 7, let's say you have 7k and 6k, that is 30k plus 7, 37k. So to give you a bit towards, and they might even give you up to tier 10, because tier 10 is where you first get the chance to get the Void Alchemy Stone. And the rewards are also better. You have Grand Bloodstones, you have Red Dark Energy Chest. If you, it's only at tier 9 onwards that you have the Red Dark Energy Chest. Yeah. And only from tier 7 onwards do you get Grand Bloodstones. And naturally, the higher difficulty you do, the more of each of these type of rewards you get, not just the grade itself being improved. Yeah. So my guess is they will likely give you guys up to tier 10 or perhaps even tier 11 so that they can introduce this particular feature here. That is only in tier 11, where when you complete all waves, right, you get a minimum 1.5x reward. The one where, you know, the roller reward that I was having. It was rolling through 1x to 3x. If at 11 difficulty and higher, you actually get a chance to roll up to 3x and minimum is 1.5. But if it's 10th difficulty, you need to actually clear the very last wave just to get the feature to roll up to 3x. Yeah. Before that, right, you do not have that feature at all. So let's say if your CP is quite high, let's say you really invest in your character, maybe something like 8 plus 9k and then 7k each, you should be able to clear up to such a difficulty level. Especially since they have given you guys so much CP boost, so many different ways to boost your CP. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they come out with 11th difficulty or even higher. Yeah, because if you want me to say, I think you guys are slightly behind in terms of when compared to when we first get POG. Okay, so this is it in terms of the difficulty level. And if you want to know what bosses appear, right, basically for the very first difficulty level, if I look at the boss rush list, okay, this is Hadun, but I think it's fine for the purpose of my explanation. Okay, never mind. Let's go to Alien mode. Okay, so the very first difficulty, you have Red Nose as the first boss, and this third, fifth, seventh, ninth, and 10th. So your 10th boss, the very last wave, the 10th wave will be the Sonyu Captain, Sonyu Siege Captain. And the second difficulty will basically have this guy as the last boss instead, while GF is your first boss. So you can imagine it's basically a row of 10 bosses moving down the line. So let's say we talk about this is the second difficulty, third difficulty, this is the last boss, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. So not sure whether you guys have this story boss yet. I think no, right? If no, then probably they will only give you up to the 10th difficulty, just based on the bosses that you will have. Okay. So obviously there are some traits in terms of the way the bosses handle the rush. So I'm just going to talk about some of the more notable ones, which one of them is actually the Uraka. Uraka, during his wave, right, he will just dash all the way. The very first moment he appears, he will dash more than like half the distance of the POG, and shortly after that, he will dash again all the way to your door. So when you are doing against, when you're up against Uraka, right, you must have at least 3 people at the door to try to clear him. Otherwise, you won't be able to clear him in time. He will be happily wrecking at your door. He will dash so far ahead of the mobs. He's basically the boss that goes right directly and straight for the door. So this is one guy you need to be careful of. What else? This boss is also quite tough. Initially, right, the Titium is quite tough as well. His that jumping move, right, where every time he jump, he deals damage, and he will keep jumping forward, and it deals a lot of damage and will really cause your mayhem to your lineup as well. So these are the 2 bosses to really take note of. The rest of them, I have to say it's been quite a while since I had fought any of these bosses. So, but I do remember Uraka and the TTM being the ones that gave a lot of trouble. Siege Captain will also dash as well. Oh, and the other thing to note is that each of the wave, the mobs have different characteristics. Some of them are tougher, they take longer to kill. Some of them are speedy, which means that they always try to dash for your door. And while some of them have high attack. So between each wave, there's some difference. And for us, right, this is currently the first boss for difficulty 15. So I think I mentioned before this particular boss is very, very irritating. His flame can really deal a lot of damage as well. And both this and this, they do have a okay. This guy does have a tendency to sometimes he may dash forward as well to your door. The rest of these mods are okay. Not not quite sure whether you guys have this boss yet. If you do have this boss, he is a one where he dashes really really fast, and his mobs are all super speedy. So this is a wave where it can be tough as well. But the good thing is his HP is very low. If your if your CP is higher than the recommended difficulty level when meet him, right? More often than not, you would be able to kill him before you can deal some serious damage to your dog. And by the way, he is a low HP but high AP character, which means that when he hits your door, right, it really really hurts a lot. It's more painful than the rest of the bosses. Alright, so I think this is as detailed enough as I can get for now. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Let me know if you have any other questions, especially you can ask me during my stream regarding POG in this week leading up to next week, where I think you guys should be getting the POG update. Because otherwise, if they want to line up the POG season with Taiwan and the Korea server, right, then they have to wait until October, which I think is way too long for POG to be released. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.